found yourself being worn down by rejection? Do you find that you take rejection personally? Are you dreading that next no? My name's Nichola McLeod, and I help people succeed in their own home-based network marketing businesses. Please press the subscribe button so that you can get regular updates on the content that I upload. I think this has to be the number one conversation that I have with people that I work alongside who are building their business. It's rejection. It seems to be such a big stumbling block for people, being able to find ways to navigate through the rejection that comes hand in hand with building your own network-based business. If you want to build a team, then you need to speak to people. You need to offer the opportunity that you have to people and have conversations with them about it, and they're not all going to say yes. It is a reality that you're going to need to cope with rejection if you want to be successful, but that's a lot easier said than done. It's also true that I've had a lot of rejection myself. It's something that I've needed to go through time and time again. And also my team members, the people that I work with, the people that I support, they get rejected all the time as well. Like I said, it's probably the biggest conversation that we talk about, how you manage that. I think the best way for me to be able to help with this is to share with you this fantastic equation that I was taught quite a few years ago that I use myself as a technique to be able to deal with rejection. It's a formula by Jack Canfield, I think, sort of first created it, and it's quite simple. E plus R equals O. The event plus your reaction equals the outcome. But what does that mean? What it means is that the event is going to happen anyway. The actual thing, and in this case we're talking about the rejection, that's going to happen anyway. The outcome is actually decided by how you respond or react. I think a really good example of this is, let's come away from rejection. I always think driving is a great analogy for anything. So you're driving along the road, you come up to a roundabout, you go onto the roundabout and somebody cuts you up. So that's the event. You've been cut up. You now get to decide how you react. And let's take two opposite ends of the scale here. So let's decide that you are going to be filled with rage and anger at the fact that this person should have known better than to pull out in front of you. They're an idiot, they're all the swear words that you can think of under the planet, and you shout and scream at them, you bib your horn, you slam your brakes on, you make lots of gestures, wildly getting angry at them. They go off and you drive to work and you're in a foul mood. You take it out on everybody that you see, everything today goes wrong. It's just a complete nightmare. Here's a completely different way to respond. Same situation, the event is exactly the same. You pull onto a roundabout, as you're going round, somebody cuts you up. You avoid an accident. You smile really nicely at the person because they look horrified that they've made a mistake, and you wave them on, no harm done. As you carry on driving into work, you're feeling rather pleased with yourself that you were so kind and nice to that person. As your day progresses, things just seem to be going your way. The project that you needed to get completed is done. You had a fantastic review with your line manager. When you get home, there's a lovely surprise waiting in the post for you. Now, I'm not talking here about the law of attraction or anything like that, but I am saying that you actually get to decide how to respond to that event, because I can imagine two different conversations where one conversation with the first scenario, you're blaming the person who cut you up for causing you to be in a bad mood and have a terrible day. And in the second situation, you've probably even forgotten about it. Was it that person's fault that you had a bad day? Or was it the way that you chose to respond to the event that made it a bad day? For me, I like to think that it's the latter. We get to choose how we respond to everything. Sometimes we don't like the choices that we have, but we do get to choose. It's our own choice on how we respond to things. And that really does impact the outcome. So what I'm talking about here is being able to identify when it is that you're having a response that doesn't help, and being able to alter it that will affect the outcome. If you're able to identify when you're frustrated, you can create a break that changes the outcome. And I think this picture illustrates it really well. Sometimes the right answer is to walk away. So going back to rejection, if you found that you've been doing, you've approached 10 people, you've contacted 10 different people and they've all said no, perhaps a couple have hung up on you, perhaps one was a bit short with you, perhaps somebody you had an appointment with wasn't there, abducted by aliens, strangely enough. You find yourself getting really frustrated. Just stop. Get up, go for a walk, have a cup of tea, do something different, and decide to come back and have a different approach. Because the only thing that's going to happen if you carry on with your frustration is that when you speak to somebody who may well have been the right person to say yes to your opportunity, you would be carrying your frustration with you, and you could possibly miss out on the yes that you are actually looking for. The other thing that you can do to help with rejection is to really embrace the fact that it's part of the process. There's a game that I was taught a long time ago called the No Game, and that was about actually targeting yourself with the number of no's that you could get. I know it sounds silly and it is just a mind game, but after all, we're talking about the way that your mind works. So if your objective is to get 10 no's, 20 no's, actually it's quite hard to be frustrated because this is what you were looking for in the first place. It doesn't work for me every day, but it works for me some days. The other thing that you can do is to focus totally on the input and not the output. I think it's a great way of dealing with rejection. So let's say I've got a list of leads that I want to contact because they've shown an interest in joining my business. Then I'm not going to focus myself on the outcome, which is I want one of them to join my team. Instead, I'm going to focus on the fact that my activity today really is all about making sure that I reach out to all of these people. Now, of course, I've got my fingers crossed that there's some positive conversations in there, but I'm not focusing on the frustration of not having a positive conversation. Instead, I'm just focusing on making the calls, on making the contact, on reaching out to those people. And that can help me feel less frustrated. And do you know what? Some days I can make so many phone calls and not get the outcome that I possibly wanted. But I'm comfortable and confident that if I focus on making those phone calls, that the law of averages will take over and I'll get the positive responses. So don't allow rejection to get in your way. Try to embrace it as part of the process. Try different techniques on different days to help you through it. And if all else fails, pick up the phone to your mentor and have a good old vent. Nothing works better than that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like more content like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.